And you're here to release a single on a tour with Brazilian guys. I learned that before the pandemic, you travel a lot around Brazil. How's your relation with Brazil? What attracts you in the country? What do you think of us?
Yeah, it's interesting because when you're not from someplace, people will say like, "Oh, this reminds me," or they'll talk about, going to Venice and that type of situation. I think one of the biggest ones was the first time when I went to Santos, and went with some of the Charlie Brown Jr. guys, and that type of thing, and stayed there for a while. And it was the story about different people kind of like recognize you. What are you doing here? And that. But you see the kind of people say, oh, the way they kind of started was kind of similar to Venice. And people always do that, but you don't. And then you realize like, oh, I see that. And you start seeing people, as I said, as people and how you grew up and going like, okay, this is someone I would be friends with, And so there's the two kind of friends you have when you're young. They're the ones because you live by them. And so you're friends, you get a little older and you're like, I don't like them. And there's the ones you've kept over the years and because you see what the type of person they are. Yeah. And you could realize there's those two types of people. The people I would have grown up, they would have been my friends, but probably would not be my friends. And then these are people that I would be friends with that you can just tell that you can what's inside and trust them, and being able to have
was one of those guys.
I definitely, it's interesting because when I met him way back, his English wasn't very good, and I have no Portuguese, and I didn't really know who he was. Didn't have any kind of understanding. I had no understanding how much influence it would kind of have in my life later on and stuff, to the degree even being here. I don't think I'd be here if it wasn't for him. And you see, as more people tell you like, hey, things, and I'm like, really? I didn't know that. And you start, learning things, and then you meeting the people and the stories, the good and the bad stories, and you kind of get vested in it. And you're like, and then you realize how much people mean to other people and why they do, and you start seeing all these things. It's a whole different world, literally, and you cannot not feel a part of it. And people here like just been incredibly honest, good or bad, honest, but for the right reasons, not like, oh, Mike, you're so pretty. Oh, you look great in that dress. It's like, they tell you the story, kind of thing. And so being here and coming back on my own is like the other joke I always say, that people were talking to other people and going, what's he doing here? Has he got a girlfriend here? I'm always seeing him here, and someone had said, it came to me and said, Mike, you are the first person that I see in Brazil all the time, and it's not because of a girl. and I think that actually helped, because people realize where I'm coming from, and that you want to be here. And before COVID happened, we did the Infectious Grooves, with Robert. I was like, Robert, I want to play in Brazil, And then next month we did the skate park opening in December, and we had all kinds of things that we had planned on doing, not just music. That one of the things that was very important to me is be like, I'm not just here because of music, because of life. And there were some things that we wanted to try to do that would be completely different, that made no sense musically, but it was, this would be something I think will mean a lot. And then COVID happened and everything got shut down, and it got shut down to a degree that I don't think anybody at the time knew what was going on, and would have probably had a more difficult time if they knew what was going to happen. And so for us going forward, it's kind of like, wow, how do you get back going and everything when you don't know what's happening
after the COVID?
And there's a lot of people trying to just on the music thing, rushing out to try to go on tour, and I'm like, why? Because you missed out on these other shows, and it's like your job, and it was a really difficult time for a lot of people, especially people that had kids, with schooling and all those, depending on the ages, and so many problems. And so when we got the opportunity to do the call about the Sao Paulo show here, it was like, we're coming from Europe. I flew straight here from Europe. That was the time I was supposed to be off, and then we going to Denver. So we're going here, flying straight from here to Denver to do festivals, and then going back to Eastern Europe. But to do like the show in Sao Paulo, like to be able to do the free show, that type of thing, that's the kind of shit that if it was in LA, I'd be like, yeah, let's go. And then to be able to play more cities, it's like, okay, let's fit in all the cities we can.